Good morning, Sheila. How are you today?
Good morning, Wayne. I'm very good now that I have a chance to talk with you.
Me too. It's almost like Christmas, right? Because you say you can't sleep on
Almost. Yeah.
Wednesday
Yeah.
nights, yes?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we explore the fascinating world of verbs
Mhm.
and their impact on our daily lives. Join us each week as we delve into the different ways verbs shape our language and influence what we do, as we are attempting to make a positive difference in our world, one verb at a time. And Sheila, what is our verb for today?
Our verb today is something that we use every day, sometimes for small
Hmm.
moments, sometimes for life changing moments, like choosing a career path or a life partner. The verb is to decide. And I apologize to you, Wayne, for interrupting you and getting you off track at your intro this morning. So
No, no off tracks at all. I loved
good.
your laughter, so I just kind
Oh,
of
okay.
stopped this. Yeah. and and Sheila, where may our listeners contact you and with questions and or comments?
Thank you for asking. I can be reached at zekeandsheila@yahoo.com.
And I can be reached at Wayne at mindsyncing.com. That's MindSyncing.com. And I have to say, and I'm sure you have some words too, Sheila, Daryl has become, wow, a great feedback person for us.
Thank you, Daryl.
And thank you, Daryl, for all your comments. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. And Daryl says he likes Harmonize the best so far.
Ah,
Aha.
so
Yes.
go back and listen to it again, I'm thinking.
I will, yes.
Yeah.
And before I forget, I hope everyone has a great and safe happy 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
at least in America.
Right?
Yes. And everyone else who might enjoy that time, enjoy that as well. So decide, do you have definitions for us, or do you want me to give you my list of definitions?
I always like your list of definitions. It is always very thorough.
Well, here we go. To choose something, especially after thinking carefully about several possibilities, to be the reason or situation that makes a particular result happen, to make a final choice or judgment about something or someone, to select as a course of action, to infer on the basis of evidence, and my last one, because there was a litany of them and I just chose
Hmm.
a few.
Yeah.
My last one is to fix the course or outcome of something. Now, Sheila, I
Okay.
know what my thoughts were. What were your thoughts when you generized or was that randomly generated that
That's
verb?
right. Well, in the past, we've talked about how many decisions people make in a day, and that number, according to artificial intelligence, is roughly 35,000
Right?
decisions a day. So then I started thinking, well, how many mistakes do you generally make in a
Ooh.
day? And so, again, artificial intelligence has said 50 mistakes a day. So that gives me hope. Of all those decisions, most of them are going to be solid decisions.
Okay.
How about you? How
All
about
right.
you?
You know what? I said, oh, this is going to be fun because immediately I thought of all kinds of things that I have been taught or in the presence of
Oh, yes.
or heard over the course of the several years that I've been on this earth. And you know what? It's how many times have we all heard one piece of good advice and have decided not to use it? And I
Well,
have,
at least 50 times a day, I'm thinking.
right? Yes. Out of the 35,000 decisions that we
Right, right,
make.
right.
So I made a quick list of personal and, or professional, doesn't matter. And who has heard this? Before a major purchase, get at least three quotes.
I have heard that, and many organizations require that.
Yes. And how many of us have decided to go with the first offer?
Well, my husband would tell you that when we go either Christmas tree shopping or furniture shopping, even though I insist we see several different options, we always go back to the first one.
Oh, no. How about this one? Before cutting materials, measure twice,
Oh,
cut once.
yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And how many of us have bought another piece of that material because we didn't measure twice, we cut once, and then, oh, that's the wrong measurement.
My arm's in the air.
How about this one? Don't touch that. It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
touched it, right? Yeah, I know I did. How about this one? Look before you leap. And how
Yep.
many how many of us have jumped it right in there and immediately knew it was the wrong decision as soon as we jumped?
Yeah. Yep.
And here's one, and I've heard this so many times, and I've heard this in so many settings. Think before you speak. And oops, you
Yes.
decided to speak as the words left your mouth. Uh-oh, you knew that was not the right thing to
Yeah.
say.
Hmm.
And okay, all of us handymen and handy women out there, cut the power off from the source before working with the wires within.
You only need to do that wrong once, I'm
You
thinking.
know, and then yes, but why can't we why can't we heed the warnings first? I don't know. Here,
Mm.
here's one that we all have done. Who's seen the wet paint sign and decided to touch it because it looked dry?
Just to find out if it's really still wet.
And here's one that you'll like because you used to be in this business. Buy low, sell high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of psychology behind financial decision making.
So anyway, I said, oh, this could be fun with those kinds of things, but I digress. How about you? Where'd you go? Because I know you have a lot of information to
I have
share.
really cut back. I have an article on how to make decisions faster without regret, a guide for overthinkers. And then the
Oh,
other, why love is a decision you make every day.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
I
please
had
let's hear
many other
those.
choices, and I'm wishing I had talked about financial decision making because we do not act the way we should. I also wanted to mention two shows that occurred in the Big Bang Theory with Sheldon Cooper. If you've ever watched that show, where he decided one day to just roll dice or a die to make decisions
Ah,
so that he could focus on the big decisions and let the little ones be determined by the dice. And then the other one I don't have right in front of me, but anyway, I'm going to start with quotes.
okay.
You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you're the guy who'll decide where to go.
Who
Dr.
said that?
Seuss. Dr.
Dr. Seuss.
Seuss. Yes. Joan Baez said, you don't get to choose how you're going to die or when. You can only decide how you're going to live now.
Ah,
I thought that was very profound.
I like that.
Harvey Cox, a theologian, said, not to decide is to decide. And
Okay.
that is for the overthinkers again, that's a good choice.
Yes.
And finally, Theodore Roosevelt said, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing, the next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing.
Okay.
So
So make a decision is what he's saying, right?
that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go ahead and jump in with one of your topics?
Sure, not a problem. And here's one that particularly enjoyed. I got an article from Leading Insight, and there's no author. It's just on their Leading Insight webpage. It
Okay.
says 10 steps to making better decisions.
All right.
And we have all heard many of these, just like just like the anecdotal ones that we started at the beginning of the show. The first one says, ask to assess the situation. Again, that's looking before you leap, right?
Right. Right.
They say, take a fresh perspective. I enjoy that.
Hmm.
Consider your options. Again, give me some alternatives. Give me some other, give me
Hmm.
plan A, B, and C, and let me decide which one I want. How about this one? Analyze each option. Wow.
Hmm.
How many of us don't do that?
Right.
It says you need to get unstuck. And here's what they mean. Some people get stuck because nothing seems perfect or acceptable.
Excuse me. Yes, you're right. I got so excited there to jump in. I had to cough. So,
I know.
yes.
Wow. Wow. Yes. And so from this evaluation, what is the best choices that you can make today? It says realize that everything is a compromise. No
Hmm.
decision is ever going to be without its downside.
Good point.
I like that too. Number six, make the decision, much like you said.
Yeah.
As you said, Winston Churchill said, no decision is, or what was it? The worst is to not make a decision. Yes.
Right. Yes, Theodore Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Define an action plan. Eight is communicate your decision. And then 9 is implementation. And 10 is something that typically goes almost unnoticed or forgotten. Evaluate it.
That is so important.
Yes, yes. So that's my first article. How about you? Again, I know you have lots to tell us, so I'm listening.
I just wanted to say evaluation is so important. I was thinking back to in the past, you've talked about the stages of group work,
Forming, storming, norming,
yes.
performing, and adjourning. Yes,
And part of adjourning for wise people is to go over and say what went well and what do we want to do differently next time.
yes.
So that doesn't assign blame, but it's a good way of improving each decision or choice. So I did a quick little flow chart because there's a flow chart for decision making. So this is how I put it together. My dog is staring at me. One, has he recently gone to the bathroom? Yes or no? If no, take him out. If yes, go to next question. Next question is when did he last eat or get fed? If recently, then go to next question. If no, feed him. The next question is, am I eating something in front of him? If yes, he gets it or he doesn't. So, but you can apply a flowchart to any decision making matrix. But I'm going to talk first here about overthinkers because some of the decision making challenge for overthinkers is, fear of missing out, of the wrong decision, getting analysis paralysis. So here are the problems with not making a decision. This is according to Julie Hage, and this is in her online article.
Okay.
So, exhaustion, not making decisions makes you tired because your mind is still knowing you should make a decision. A
Hmm.
cluttered environment, because when you can't decide about little things, you end up with piles. Arguments or resentments in relationships. Why can't you just make a decision? Is something you may hear too often. An unprofessional reputation. So if you can't
Hmm.
make decisions, it's difficult to advance in your professional life.
Okay.
Yeah. Anxiety, worry, and fear when you put off making decisions because there doesn't seem to be an easy solution. You're just prolonging it, just kicking the can down the road. In the meantime, your brain is keeping you up at night with what if possibilities. An unfulfilling life. Are you letting life happen to you? Or, like Dr. Seuss, are you making the decision and stepping forward?
I like Dr. Seuss.
I do too. We just were in Dr. Seuss World in Orlando not too long ago, and I wish I'd
Oh,
spent more time there.
oh,
So
wow. Did
we
you
went
see,
to the Harry
did you
Potter
see,
world instead.
did you see
What?
thing one and thing two though?
Yeah, and lots of thing one and thing two t-shirts.
Okay.
Oh, here are the benefits of making decisions. Efficient prioritizing, more intentional living, more time,
Okay.
improved self-confidence.
Uh-huh.
And this is a decision making is a skill you can do better at. So if you're feeling paralysis, if you don't like those negative feelings and you want those positive feelings, one step is to identify the root cause of your indecision. What am I afraid of? What information do I need to make a decision? What are my top priorities? What's holding me back? Now, if you're an overthinker, detouring making the decision by questioning these things can be a challenge. So anyway, you want to get clarity on your goals. I used to hate goals setting, storming, mission value statements. Ugh,
Yes.
those were such a pain in the neck. So once we get past, basically, you want to get to the point where you're making the decision. Overthinkers love research and analyzing. This is my challenge. Sometimes it's the exclusion of action. So do
Oh,
some research, but make a time limit. Do you want to pick a paint color? Get only 3 samples. Do you want to do another new business opportunity or side hustle? Give yourself a week to research. No more than that.
ah.
Create
Okay.
deadlines for yourself. Sometimes overthinkers are very deadline driven. Practice your decision making skills. Well, of course, we all decide what to eat for breakfast, etc. Listen to your gut feeling. Now, for many years, my gut feeling what steered me in the wrong direction. But intuition is your subconscious mind's ability to recognize patterns and make connections that your conscious mind might not be aware of. I made really bad romantic choices for many
Oh
years. I'm
no.
so grateful that I learned to trust my gut feeling before I found Fred.
Okay.
Because I might have overlooked him. So, he, anyway, we talk about analysis paralysis, decision fatigue, perfectionism. but how not to regret the decisions we make, because sometimes that's a real barrier. And
Mm,
that one is to, going back to that adjourning part of just saying what went right, not just what went wrong, but what went right. And
yes.
know that in most of the decisions in life, we have an opportunity to make another different decision later. So,
Excellent. Yes. I used to be in a profession and we always, not always, but we tended to end um, the goals, once the goals have been reached, with lessons learned. And as you suggested,
yes,
what went
yeah,
well and what
yep,
did not go well.
right.
A lot of individuals think they just kind of focus on what went wrong. Well, let's talk about also
Right.
what went well.
No,
Yes,
exactly. What do you want to keep doing? Right.
exactly. Yes. So I have another article here
Great.
by James Atwater, and he talks about the 10 ways to avoid making bad decisions
Great.
to complement your good decisions. And
Great.
you're going to hear the same things that you just
Okay.
said.
Super.
One of them is use a step by step decision making process.
Hmm.
So let's look at little bites. Don't look at the whole thing. Let's look at little bites first.
Okay.
It says number two, make sure you are seeing the entire picture. Number three, only make decisions when you are well rested, which you've already
Oh, that
suggested.
was that was the other
Julia.
Sheldon Cooper technique for decision making. Have a full bladder. It creates a deadline for you. Okay, sorry to
Okay.
interrupt you. Go back.
All right. Here's one, remove your ego. I like that one particularly well.
Mhm.
You've already mentioned this, but avoid analysis paralysis. Um, and for those of you who don't know what analysis paralysis
Mhm.
is, you
Mhm.
can kind of conceptualize it. And I'm looking at the clock and it's 11:11. So we have 11 minutes left.
Okay.
Hoo-hoo. All right. Um, Analysis of paralysis is when you just cannot make a decision because you're looking at one thing and you're trying to evaluate that, but then you see
Mhm.
number two and you're evaluating that, and number three you're
Yep.
evaluating that, and you're going back to number one, and oh, which
Yep.
one do I like? And oh, well, let me go back to three, and you
Yep.
just can't make it. You get
Nope.
stuck in that
Too much
cyclical,
information. Yep.
too much information. Exactly. Here's one: make a pro and con list or an
Yep.
against list.
Yep.
He says take steps to overcome the sunk cost bias. And you just mentioned that, but the
Yes.
sunk cost is you've thrown so much time and
Yep.
energy and money, you don't want to waste that. So you
Right.
keep spending more time and energy and money on that, and you're still being more wasteful because it's a dead horse. Let it die.
You are talking about the main component of cleaning out your closet.
Oh,
Let go.
there you go. As you've already suggested, consider your emotions, listen to your body. And lastly, he says, make your most important decisions first. And I thought, "Nah, I think there's something to be said about that. Because typically, when you go through your day, we tend to think, okay, what's the most important thing I need to do today? And you can find that. So
Hmm.
what he's talking about is prioritization. What's the biggest
Hmm.
thing I need to decide? What's the littlest thing? Okay. What's going to
Hmm.
have the largest impact? What's going to have the smallest impact? And there we go. I also have some pro tips, but I want to come back to you because you have tons more and you have some more quotes I understand too, correct?
I don't have more quotes
Oh,
unless they show up in the body of what I'm going to talk about next.
okay.
So I guess you could call it a quote. So I studied, this one is all about why love is a decision you make every day.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start by talking about the hormones involved in different stages of a relationship. So, because we are so often driven by hormones without necessarily knowing it. The first phase is ruled by sex hormones. It's called lust, and
Okay.
it's ruled by estrogen and testosterone. The second stage, attraction, is similar to lust, but defined mostly by dopamine and norepinephrine,
I was
which
wondering if we were going to get to dopamine. I was,
I
ooh.
know it. I know it. I always have to put this in here. These are elation, energy, and euphoria. The next one is attachment, and these are ruled by oxytocin and vasopressin, which encourages emotional bonding in long-term relationships.
Aha.
So, and this little section here reminded me of the forming, norming, storming, performing. After the honeymoon, You'd have to decide, are you going to stick with the relationship?
Oh,
So, in the early attachment, you know your partner's quirks, but you're still learning about one another, building memories, enjoying new experiences together. Then, crisis and tension. During this phase, the relationship is strongly tested by crises, life changes, personal growth that may cause drifting apart. Then you got
uh-huh.
deep attachment. This is my favorite. Relationships that have come through hard times successfully enter deep attachment and have a sense of understanding, acceptance, and respect, as well as emotional safety. And what I love about that is you're no longer trying to change each other into what the image of each other you have. You're just accepting each other for where you are. It's a very comforting place to be. So,
Okay.
4 tips to choosing love, and I'm going to race through these so we can get back to your pro tips. Number 1, find ways to show gratitude. So, this is how you decide to keep on loving. Find ways to show gratitude for each other. What did my loved one do today that made me feel good? Making coffee, saying thank you. Those are examples of that. Just acknowledging the person. Number 2, showing affection, hugging, kissing, touching, but that's not always the case. It can be making coffee for each other, putting your partner's favorite umbrella out to prepare for them something, being kind, doing something kind. Number 3, showing appreciation for who your partner is. And this is a compliment or reaffirm what makes them special. Number 4, taking care of yourself so that you're the best person for your partner. Sadly, sometimes in a relationship, people start taking the other for granted
Mm.
and don't do that. So, I've got 10 things that can make love die, but I'm not going to talk about that now. I'd rather hear your pro tips. If we have another topic down the road, I'll use those 10 things.
Well,
But I want
guess
to leave
what?
on a positive note.
Well, we
What?
have we have 6 minutes left, so um
Okay,
I
10
can
things that can
it,
make love die.
yeah, what are the 10 things?
Okay, ignoring or dismissing their needs and concerns, not communicating, emotionally abandoning your partner, taking them for granted, being critical and judgmental, keeping secrets,
Ooh.
revealing things your partner has confided in you,
Ah.
pushing someone to change the way they are to please your preferences. Ooh, and this is a big one, belittling them in private or in front of others.
Uh,
And then finally, no longer demonstrating affection.
ah.
So,
Okay. Yes. Man.
so enduring love is a choice made through everyday actions. So there you go.
So we decide to do that, right?
Every day,
Get that
every day,
get that dopamine up.
multiple times a day. Right, right, right.
Okay. So here's some of my pro tips.
Okay.
And again, these are mine.
Yep.
I didn't research these. These are mine. So
Good.
they're not tied to any scientific
They
data
are
or
tied to experience.
well, they're just tied to my opinion.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Number one, I say overconfidence can be hazardous. So tread lightly. And I've seen too many people who, oh yeah, I got this, I got this, and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I don't got this.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, ego can and will at times get in the way, so leave it
Yep.
at the door.
Yep.
Here's my number three: ask, listen, evaluate, then act.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be repeated, and you can act at the end, or you can go back to at any time ask again. So ask, listen, evaluate, um, and then act. But you in between that whole cycle, you can always go back and ask and listen and evaluate again.
Great.
And I have this right after that, and I'm not sure why it's here, other than the fact always, always, always evaluate.
Ah.
Again, what did we learn? What was good? What was bad? And look at our choices. Course correct when needed. And I say course correct when needed because, a lot of times, even driving. Now, how many of us have seen people on the road who are weaving over the lines trying to stay in between, and as you're going around them because you say,
Yep.
I don't know what this knucklehead's doing in front of me, but I'm going
Cell
to get around them,
phone.
and they got the cell phone.
Yeah, I knew it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And they have one hand on the steering wheel
Yep.
and they're looking down and
Yep.
they're fumbling. So it's not that
Yep.
they're talking, they're not using their GPS, they are texting
Yeah. Or something. Yep.
or something, yes. I'm like, so course correct when needed. And my course correction with them was put the phone down. Here comes another one I have. When garnering feedback, Do not use the same individuals each time. Different
Ah,
perspectives keep it fresh.
I like that.
So if you always go to Billy, Jane, and Joe, you're only going to get at some point in time, you're going to see a pattern here. Oh, well, that's what Billy, Jane, and Joe think. What does Don, Ron, and Linda think? And it could be something completely different.
John and Ron might say something you don't like, but maybe that's what you need to hear.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. And my last one is whenever whatever you do, whenever you garner feedback, whenever you do the task, whenever you take the information and decide and do something, thank those that were involved.
Mm, yep.
Always come back and thank those that were involved because that goes back to your and I'm not going to say the loving part, but a bonding. It is a
Yes.
bonding thing, and we garner respect. We earn respect. We earn trust, and going back and thanking those individuals just kind of typifies that bond and makes it greater.
Yeah.
That you had the thought to come back and say thank you. Even though I'm just the lowest person on the totem pole here, you came back and thanked me because I gave you some input. That is just so fragile and yet critical, if I can
Yes.
use those terms together.
Yes. I like
All
that.
right. Yes. So anyway, ooh, we have a minute and 39 seconds left. So what have you left on the table that you want to get out?
I was just looking at my notes here and I have left two long articles that I don't want to get into necessarily, but let me maybe 6 tips for resolving conflict with your partner, because
Okay.
that is often a part of choosing to love someone. Create an atmosphere of mutual respect. So, no cussing, no name calling, no raising your voice or yelling, no other violent, no, putting a hole in the wall,
Yes.
um, cooling off and trying again later when things heat up. That's a really important one because sometimes you get into chemistry overload and you just can't, you get locked in. So, without feeling respected, it's hard for us to communicate openly. So you have to treat each other with respect and kindness. Number two, recentering when things get emotional. That's a little bit what I was saying, and
Ah.
remindering yourself you are more important to me than the issue. Because we forget that issues gets to be so big sometimes.
Yes.
So, and some ways to do that are to remind them you're not deliberately trying to frustrate them, offering to listen without critique. One of the best things you can say to someone is, can we get together and can I just listen?
Got it. 19
So,
seconds to go.
okay, addressing protective behaviors, your own protective behaviors, validating feelings, not interrupting, as an example, seeking the root cause of conflict, and sometimes seeking professional help. So,
Okay.
there we
Cool.
go.
All
Thank you,
right.
Wayne. Thank you, folks, for listening.
Thank you, Sheila. Have a good fourth, everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.